Welcome to the 2023 US Open. We're here in Killington, Vermont to celebrate the 20th anniversary of this historic race. All bets are off with open class racing and a huge cash purse on the line. This year we have a stacked men's and women's field at the only race of the season where young guns like Vermette and Aletha Ostgaard can go up against World Cup heavy hitters like Greg Minnaar and Hoffman. I'm your host, Rich Moore, here with the Gravity Co-op, and we're here to bring you along for all of the action. And let me tell you, we've got an exciting show for you here today. The track is looking better than ever here at the Beast of the East. Gnarly roots and rocks tied together with rich loamy soil punctuated by high-flying jumps and thundering berms, today's course represents everything you'd expect from classic New England riding. One track, all ages, all skill levels, and a massive library of line options. This is one of the most unique racing opportunities anyone can participate in, and a lot of intention went into the design of today's race. Let's go check in with the US Open's own Clay Harper for a breakdown on what our riders can expect to find between the teams. Well, Clay, it's been 20 years since you first kicked off this event. The track here at Killington's pretty unique. Tell me a little bit about the idea behind the design this year.
So this track was actually designed in 2016 for a Pro GRT race. We've had some time to develop it with different national races over the years. The overall design of the track is to have a fun track that has good features, fun jumps, but everyone can ride it, right? Because we have Cat 2-3 racers all the way up to the Pro Open Class World Cup riders here.
Starting at the top, we've got some jumps, we've got some flow, drops us right off into the upper woods where the action starts to heat up very quickly. Tell me a little bit about that section. What's going to be the make or break for our riders going down through there?
So that's one of the best sections to watch. They come out of the start gate and it's a little slow, right? Like you right into a rock garden, little gap berm, shark fin out. You come across that ski slope under the chairlift, people are yelling at you, and it's like blackout. Just double into the woods, you hit, and it is on. It's just like such high speed. There's this massive compression at that first fire road crossing, and then you hit the new loam section, which has been really cool to watch burn in. It was brand new, fresh. Nobody's hit it until first day of practice. I think people are pretty stoked on it.
I've seen two lines developing up there, one going like far outside the first tree, one splitting right down the middle into the deep compression. And then the exit out of that is really tight. It's fresh loam. It's greasy in there. Seen a lot of riders go down.
I haven't gotten to watch pro practice through there yet, so open practice, I want to go see that. I don't know which side I would take, yeah. So it'll be cool to see. We build this track so wide, like it's probably one of the widest tracks in America. There's portions of it, when you go up there, it's 40 feet wide. You know, we try to keep line choice and make it a mental game. Because what this track lacks in just straight aggressive features, it makes up for with just the chess game. Like you have to pick and choose. Even though we think we have this wide track, the pinpoint to which these guys are making their marks, it's crazy to me. I never really thought about it like that, you know, and I don't think the fans watching understand when they're looking at a rider go through a 20-foot wide section of track with rocks and roots, that athlete is centered on a 3-inch wide strip, and if they don't hit it, they believe that their race run's ruined.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, coming out of the top section, the steepness eases up. It becomes absolutely crucial to maintain speed down through the bottom of the course. Lots of rollers you got to pump, lots of things you got to do to just stay off the brakes, keep the speed up. What's it going to take for our racers to hold pace down through there?
You know, the middle section that we're talking about where the bridge is, a lot of race runs are lost right there, just simply because you lose a few miles an hour of momentum. But once you come out of that, the compression's after it, and you come into the timberline jumps, those jumps are really different this year than last year. So last year the jumps had quite a bit of pop to them, and they were kind of like jump trail jumps, and they were a lot of fun. People loved them, they were awesome in practice, but come race day, a lot of the amateurs had a hard time racing those jumps. And so this year we went to a much more race-oriented setup there. The first jump is about 40 feet, dead flat takeoff. You cannot go fast enough, you know what I mean? So just as much speed as you can hold into it, and then we have a purposely left rough section between the two jumps, which has probably been the #1 racer feedback, is why did you leave all the rocks between the jumps? And I was like, because we're racing downhill, right? So those who can hit it, love it. It's awesome, and it's such a separator. So that second jump, this year we built an on-off, which is pretty weird, I think, for a race, but it's really working well, and guys are enjoying it. We wanted to give people an opportunity to have like a technical jump feature without a lot of consequence. So you come in, it's about a 25-foot sheer gap with a nice smooth landing. It's fully caseable, down through like a whale tail and right off again. And that right there is about pretty much your last time to gain momentum. And so when you come off that second on-off, you hit a wood section. Again, it's that contrast of light. So you're coming from the open field on the ski slope into the woods. Lights go out, there's rocks and roots, and it's down in a deep compression, 90-degree right, and then you hit this last rock garden we got right here where all the crowd is. And again, that rock garden is not that steep.
All right, well, rolling into the finish section, you come out of the woods, right out here in the open, right under the lift, the whole crowd down there. What's this section gonna be looking like for our riders? What's it gonna take to come across that finish line at first?
This is my favorite section to watch, right? It's just wild. Killington's massive. We're in a very small base area within Killington. So even though it's such a big resort, it feels crazy down there when we have thousands of people just screaming. So you come out of the woods, you're gassed, you get that adrenaline pump from the crowd and everything. That finish jump is fun, hit it with speed, and then we immediately put you into 2 semi-off-camber flat turns into the finish line. It's like you're almost there, but you're not. And it may become a race decider.
Well, putting it all together from the top, what's it gonna take to put down a winning run here?
Momentum. That's the name of the game for this track. It's just all about momentum, hitting your marks. If you do get off, it's so hard to get back up to speed. So it's probably, you know, a type of thing where the person that wins is going to be somebody who kept it at 90% through and didn't overcook it and didn't get off their line and didn't lose that momentum and just kept that smooth, constant push to the end. And then once you get to this last rock garden, it's just off the brakes, fast as you can go, and that's the win.
Sweet. So, Clay, I'm excited to see how everything shapes up here. I know the crowd's going to be looking forward to it. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to chat with us, and let's go racing. Absolutely beautiful conditions coming into the weekend has led to some really fast conditions going into seating. Let's go check in with Will Washam to see how the field is stacking up.
Thanks, Rich. Here is the sharp end of your open women's field at the 2023 Fox US Open. 5th place in seating was Shauna Hearn from the YT Mob. Just ahead of her with a 3:12.5, Nina Hoffman of the Santa Cruz Syndicate. In the top three Americans at the Fox US Open. Anna Newkirk, our national champion, 3rd. Jill Kintner slotting into 2nd place, and Aletha Ostgaard on top of the qualification sheet with a 3:11.236. This year's Fox US Open replay show is brought to you by Vital MTB. Produced by us, the Gravity Cooperative, and racecourse camera coverage is brought to you by our friends at Outbound Lighting. As winter approaches, days get shorter and nights get longer. So grab yourself an Evo downhill light package. This is the ultimate bike light setup. The Trail Evo on the handlebars for that up-close and mid-range fill light, and the hangover light on your bike helmet gives you a wide but punchy light throw. With their powers combined, this creates the Evo downhill package, and this system outperforms any single high-powered lamp on the market. Now, let's get to the racing at the 2023 Fox US Open. And it'll be Nina Hoffman to start us off. She's currently in the hot seat, but down to 3:12 yesterday was only good enough for 4th place. So the Hoff definitely going to turn it up a bit for finals here at the Fox US Open. She wants to defend her crown from last year. 49.713 there at split number 1. Yeah, and you can see the power Hoffman putting down out of that corner. Oh, gets a bit out of sorts right there. This should be a track that Nina really excels on. She's had a win at Fort William on the World Cup circuit. And she hit split number 2 at 122.166. And she is on fire this year. Her 2023 season, she's sitting 2nd place in the World Cup overall. And it's a 2:08.261, so the time's already coming down from her seeding run yesterday. The Timberline jumps now for Hoffman. Oh yeah, it would get over those nicely. You can see that ski slope chopping up. Big holes before those jumps as Hoffman airs it out. Double into the right-hand corner for Nina. She's had 1 win so far on the World Cup circuit this year. It was at Val Nord Andorra. She's only been off the podium once as Hoffman powers it down this finish straight. Fastest time yesterday in seating was a 3:11.5. Hoffman going to break the beam and crush that time A 3:01.261 for Nina Hoffman. Nina has thrown it down here at the Fox US Open. 10 seconds faster than our fastest time we saw in seeding yesterday. And when you got $15,000 up for grabs, you can find a few seconds out there on course as we take a look back up at Hoffman on this off camber. Coming in full commitment. Perfect timing there on the double. Wow. Our top three ladies are going to have some work cut out for them to make up that time as Hoffman's thrown down a 3:01. And we look to Anna Newkirk, riding for Beyond Racing, our current U.S. national champ. You can see her time yesterday was a 3:11, so Newkirk going to have to get real loose on this run here in Killington. Newkirk super smooth here and straight up to pace. She's had 2 top 10s on the World Cup, holding it nice and tidy there. And she's only a half second back. Hooking up in this deep, dark Vermont soil. On the inside right there, Hoffman was on the outside. So a little bit of a different line there for Newkirk. She's lost more time. 2 seconds back on Nina. Oh, but lovely through the Shimano Killington Mountain School Rock Garden and only lost just 3/10 in that section. Newkirk airing it out here on the timberline jumps. Bit of a hang up right there for Anna. She's going to have to get back up to pace. And clean over that double as well. She's coming off her career best World Cup finish in Leger. The last World Cup round, that was a 6th place, just 200ths off the podium. Newkirk is hungry coming over to North America for the final 2 World Cup rounds. And of course, here at the Fox US Open, can she get some time back on Nina Hoffman? As Newkirk sends it down to the finish line, she was 2.3 back at split number 3. She's going to cross 5 seconds back, a 3:06. So still found a ton of speed here in finals as Newkirk dropped 5 seconds off her seeding time. As we take a look back up at the top of this run from Anna. Breaks wide open here on the Goat Skull track in Killington. Some beautiful riding there. We'll see if that time can hold up for Newkirk because we've got Jill Kintner in the gate now. A 6-time Fox US Open champion, 2nd place last year. One of the great female American downhill riders. Really one of the great female American bicycle racers, period, as Kintner dives deep into that right-hander. Oh, and Jill is looking fast. And she's up. She is up by 7/10. Kintner so committed into the corners. Has a number of dual slalom national titles, 4 cross World Cup titles to her name. Oh, and she is making some noise on track here, coming into the KMS Shimano Rock Garden. She's lost some time, but it's just 0.8 into the red for Kintner. Now she's 3 seconds back at split number 3, but still very much in touch with some of the fastest women on the World Cup circuit. Kintner still devastatingly fast at 41 years old. Able to get through that on-off cleanly. And the corner speed is there for Kintner. Of course, a bronze medal in the BMX Olympics in 2008 to her name, so definitely going to be able to carry speed through all these pumpy sections on the Goat Skull track. She's powering down to the line. Can Kintner jump up into the top couple positions here? Jill across the line, and it's going to be third place. A 3:06.669, so just outside that time of Anna Newkirk. It's just incredible to see Jill right at the sharp end, and we're going to see really one of the girls that was inspired by Jill coming up next, young Aletha Ostgaard, also from the Pacific Northwest. I mean, just so many generations of U.S. female riders that have been inspired by Jill Kintner. As we move on to our number 1 seeded rider, it's Aletha Ostgaard, a 3:11.236 for Transition Factory Racing. The young 15-year-old looking to make her mark yet again here at the Fox U.S. Open. Oh, and sending it real deep into that first right-hander. She was third place last year, up on the podium with the likes of Nina Hoffman and Jill Kintner. Oh, and she's up by a second at the first split. So this is some special riding for the Transition Factory Racer. She has been absolutely killing it on the domestic race circuit. Fastest time of the day at the Tennessee National out of all women. Fastest time of the day at the Mountain Creek Spring National. And she's still holding that green advantage. Half a second into the green. Oh, Ostgaard gets loose there. Push to the outside of the KMS Shimano Rock Garden. And it's cost Aletha some time, so she's moved down to second place. And a big tug there on the Timberline jumps. Trying to get that momentum back, losing a bit of time in that rock garden, but still plenty of track. Oh, nice inside line right there. Oh, Aletha keeping it nice and tidy here, pumping some backsides through this long straightaway section. That Transition Factory rig working hard. And she's going to have to pull some major time back if she wants to take the win today. Oh, steezing it out on this last jump. Surely this looks like a podium performance for Ostgaard. And she'll cross the line in second place. It's a 3:05.04 for Aletha Ostgaard, slotting in right behind Nina Hoffman. Hoffman giving her some love down there at the finish line. And Nina going to be $15,000 richer with the win today at the 2023 Fox U.S. Open. And here's your Open Women's Podium at the 2023 Fox U.S. Open. Nina Hoffman will go back-to-back and take the win today, just ahead of young Aletha Ostgaard, 15 years old, back on the podium here at the Fox U.S. Open in second place. Anna Newkirk will be third, our U.S. national champion riding for Beyond Racing. And Jill Kintner back on the podium here at the U.S. Open in fourth this year. Fifth place, another youngster for Transition Factory Racing, Matilda Melton, just 16 years of age. Congratulations to our Open Women's Podium. Here is our top 10 for the Open men here on finals day at the Fox U.S. Open. Nick Nesteroff slotting into 10th place with a 2:51. Remy Meier-Smith from Giant Factory Off-Road in 9th place. Jack Pederson riding for Southern Gravity Solutions in 8th. Toby Meek from the MS Mondraker team out of New Zealand in 7th, the young 19-year-old up there in the top 10. Neko Mulally from Frameworks Racing slotting into 6th place with a 2:48, just 6/10 behind the GOAT, Greg Minnaar for the Santa Cruz Syndicate. Greg went 5th yesterday in seeding. 4th place, Santa Cruz Syndicate teammate Jackson Goldstone, put down a 2:47.5. And your top 3, Luke Meier-Smith from the Giant Factory Off-Road team in 3rd, 1 second behind young Asa Vermette from Frameworks Racing. And your top-seeded rider, Dakotah Norton from Intense Factory Racing, a full 3.4-second margin on Asa Vermette. Dak Norton will be the last man on track today. We've got George Ryan, U.S. Open veteran, down in the finish corral. He's been to every single U.S. Open, thus earning him the number 20 plate for the 20th year of the Fox U.S. Open. Let's go down to the finish and catch up with George.
It's good. This is probably the best this track has ever ridden, especially right now. It's dry, there's grip, the crowd is going crazy. Like the rock garden up there is so loud, it's so good, like they're just pushing me, and yeah, it's awesome right now.
Joe Breeden from Intense Factory Racing will start us out. He's currently on the hot seat. Had some issues yesterday in his seeding run, so he's the first man on track today. And Joe just really showing the depth of field here at the Fox US Open as he blazes on that inside. Breeden's got a British Series national win under his belt so far this year. Breeden gonna jump to the inside right there. Again, love watching the course previews with Joe and Dakotah Norton from Intense Factory. Joe gives some really good insight into all the options on these World Cup tracks and, of course, this Fox US Open track at Killington Mountain. Oh, and Joe just making it look smooth. He's making it look easy out there right now. Joe Breeden, our hot seat rider, coming down to the finish. He's certainly building into the back half of his season, and it's a 2:40.528, so that's 2 seconds faster than our top seeding time yesterday from Dakotah Norton. Breeden came out swinging here. As we take a look back up, Breeden hopping around trying to find some smooth lines. This track getting chopped up nicely so far this weekend. Nothing smooth about that KMS Shimano Rock Garden, though. And we'll jump into our top 8. Jack Pederson, running for Southern Gravity Solutions, Fly Racing, BC Goggles, and Ever Athlete. Pederson, 22 years of age, 4th at the U.S. National Champs this year. Pederson comes from Colorado, although he does a ton of training in Tennessee, and he's going to love the wide open nature of this track. Oh, Pederson thundering through there on the inside line. 2.4 back on Breeden at split number 1. Oh, that turn just cutting up so nicely. Beautiful Vermont dirt here in Killington. Pederson gonna oh, he's kind of going inside right there. Very interesting. Losing just a smidge more time on Breeden, though. 3.7 seconds into the red. Oh, and Jack was punishing his bike through that rock garden. If you can believe it, it wasn't too long ago that this guy was getting top 10s in domestic downhill races on a trail bike, but he's up on the big rig this year. Lost a little more time there. 4.6 back. Pederson trying to hold on. That hole getting so deep in the timberline jump section. Pederson's on the absolute edge of the track. Oh, just going anywhere that he can to try and find more speed. Well, what'll it be for Pederson? He put down a 2:49 yesterday. Just saw Joe Breeden put down a 240. Jack Pederson is at 245.88. 3.2 back. What a great run for Pederson. We'll look forward to seeing him at Snowshoe next weekend. He's going to give a crack at the World Cup as we see Pederson bombing into this off-camber. Yeah, he kept it real tidy up to that tree. A little bit of body English. Looking up at the start list, our next rider is going to be Toby Meek out of New Zealand. 248.791 for Toby. See if he can take a few seconds off that seating time. Toby, 19 years of age. So one of these new generation of shredders that are taking downhill by storm.
But you would have to not be a passenger.
Oh, and I like that. Very composed off the top. And he's in touch, 7/10 back. Oh, and just rips that right-hander. Toby's got some great pace going here. Speed is your friend on the Goat Skull track. And he's still in touch, just 1.61 back on Joe Breeden. Straight down the gut of the Killington Mountain School Shimano Rock Garden. Toby bringing elite pace here to the Fox US Open. 2 national wins on the New Zealand National Series so far this year, and a Crankworks Summer Series win. And he's still right on that same pace. Basically the same deficit, 1.547. Toby keeping it nice and low here on these timberline jumps. Right to the inside of that tree as well. In a very direct line, very composed down here. So just a few more pedals and 2 more jumps for Toby Meek. Brilliant scrub right there, keeping it so low on the final jump. Toby crosses the finish line, and it's a 244. So 4.1 back on that time of Joe Breeden. And Breeden's done something special here, I have a feeling. Times were incredibly tight in seating yesterday, and Breeden just putting a big chunk of time into this field. Let's go back up and take another look at that in slow motion, courtesy of our outbound lighting course cameras. Oh, so nice to see, able to pop over a couple holes there. As we go to our next rider, and it's Neko Mulally, riding for Frameworks. Back in business after a rough year this year. Got taken out at the very beginning of the season at the Tennessee National. But he has gotten back up to pace in no time now that he's back on the big rig. Oh, and Neko just direct A to B in that section, not messing about at all. A half second back on Joe Breeden. Mulally, a guy very familiar with the top step here at the US Open. Wants to put this Frameworks rig back on the podium. Railed outside to outside right there for Neko. Lost a little bit more time though, 1.457 the deficit for Mulally. Nice and tidy through there. Oh, and he's pulled back time. It's only 1.1. So Neko's on a nice pace right here. This is the kind of track, if you can get to a good speed and maintain it, that's how you're going to make your time back. Oh, beautiful through the timberline jumps for Neko. Up a little higher on that camber than we've seen our first couple riders. Oh, Mulally bouncing about. Not even a thought of touching those brakes. Well, can this challenge the time of Joe Breeden? He was pulling back time that we saw at the last split, but he's going to put down a 2:42. So he's just 3.2 seconds back. Great run for Neko, though. No, he's fired up to be back on pace with this international field here at the Fox US Open as we take a look. Oh, just beautiful. Doubles down into that camber. Makes that double, doesn't pull up for it. Wants to keep his speed, keeps pressing on. We're going to go down to the finish line to check in with Joe Breeden, who's currently sat on the hot seat before we move into our top 5.
Yeah, come down super early, so it was good to come down with a good lead into the hot seat with a time that was considerably faster than anything yesterday. It's for sure a nervous wait, though, waiting for the top boys to come. I think about 45 minutes from my run to the last man, so a long wait, but we'll soon see if it holds up or not. But I'm pretty sure it'll be competitive, just exactly where, we'll wait and see. That's what makes it exciting, so it's all good. It's pretty comfy. It's super good for the recovery for next week because we can have our feet elevated, get the blood flow. So yeah, it's a comfy seat, and we're already thinking of preparation and recovery for next week, so this seat for sure helps.
And we are into our top 5 here at the Fox US Open, and it's none other than Greg Minnaar for the Santa Cruz Syndicate. But down to 248 yesterday in seeding. Let's see what Minnaar can do today in finals. A man that has so many tricks up his sleeves on 2 wheels. He was certainly up to pace off the top. And he's up. 2/10 up for Greg Minnaar, the 4-time world champion, pouring it on out of that left-hander. Minnaar, just a master at racing downhill bikes. 22 World Cup wins to his name. Oh, he's lost just a bit of time. He's only 4/10 back. On a lovely outside line to the KMS Shimano Rock Garden. Greg just painting lines on this canvas at Killington Mountain. Got an ET out of the woods right there, and he's pulled back time. So he's pulled back almost a second. Now he's a half second into the green. And this is just beautiful riding from Greg Minnaar. Kind of drifting back to the outside. Great corner speed. Oh, these are the kind of sections that Minnaar just excels at, finding doubles, manualing through that little hole on his way out of the woods. So this could be a new hot seat time. Greg Minnaar. He's going to tuck down to the finish line. Can he knock Breeden off the hot seat? And he does. Minnaar goes fastest to 240.173 for Greg Minnaar. 0.3 of a second up on Joe Breeden. He's soaking it in, waving to the fans here at the Fox US Open. We've got to take another look at some of those lines on our outbound lighting course camera coverage. Just threading the needle through all these holes, and that was a beautiful outside. Doubling into the chunk. Santa Cruz V10 and just eating it up. We're going to see another V10 right now as young Jackson Goldstone, his teammate for the Santa Cruz Syndicate, is in the gate. Goldstone with a 2:47 yesterday. Jackson, absolutely one of the hottest riders in the world right now. A man that, when he's on, seems like he can do no wrong on the downhill bike. Oh, and the pace is there from Goldstone up top. Oh, I think he was just off the bike there. I think he might have had a foot dangling off. He's 2/10 back at split number 1. And yeah, certainly riding with a purpose. Getting some big pedals in. Had an unfortunate incident in his race run here last year. So trying to make up for that, and he's pulled back time. So 0.3 into the red. He's on that same outside line that we just saw Greg Minnaar. Oh, and you can see he is just begging for more speed from that V10. the first-year elite rider, Jackson Goldstone. He's been on fire, took a win at Val di Sole this year, and he's still right there on pace with Minnaar. So he's lost 2/10. 0.4 into the red now, putting his head down, looking for some speed. Jackson, oh my goodness, just bouncing around. So surely he is on that same pace as Greg down here after that mistake up on the top of the track. Goldstone just emptying the tank. 4/10 in the red at the third split. What will it say at the finish line for Jackson Goldstone as he snakes his way through the poles? Goldstone's across the line, and he goes third. It's a 241.348. Little shake of the head there. I think he knows that that bobble at the top of the track cost him here at Killington. We're going to take a look at the pace here from Goldstone. Just threw the bike into that compression. Able to double out cleanly. There's only 3 more riders to go. And Luke Meier-Smith is the first of those top 3. A 246 for the Giant Factory off-road rider. That was his time in seating yesterday. Last couple breaths up there in the start gate. And Meier-Smith is on track here at the Fox US Open. Well, not to be outdone by Jackson Goldstone. Meier-Smith, another one of those young shredders, just ripping it in all gravity disciplines as he gets bounced a little bit to the outside right there. 0.39 back on the first split. Meier-Smith been busy this year. Took a win at the first EDR, the first Enduro World Cup in Tasmania. On a brand new Giant Rain. He's on that brand new Giant Glory and just bleeding a little more time. So 0.7 into the red. He's certainly charging. Some powerful pumps from Meier-Smith trying to get that pace back. And he's 1.5 down now. And it's going to be tough to pull that back on Greg Minnaar. Luke keeping it nice and low on those doubles. On taking that inside line right up against the tree. So many line options here on this track at Killington. And he doubles straight over the boulder in the middle of the track. So Meier-Smith not trying to mess about at all. Well, he's been in the red on this entire run to Greg Minnaar. Luke Meier-Smith for Giant Factory Off-Road will cross the line. He'll go 6th, 2.89 into the red. It's a 242.262. And you can just see how much effort he put into that run. Crowd's fired up down here in the finish corral. They got Greg Minnaar sitting on the hot seat. And they've got the young American phenom, Asa Vermette, in the start gate next. The Frameworks Racing rider was on the podium here last year, 3rd place when he was just 15 years of age. Oh, and look at the shapes he's throwing. Vermette, such a special rider. Has had a great year this season. Just lighting it up on the domestic circuit. Oh, and he's lighting up split number 1. That is green by almost a half second for Asa. Yeah, and this is a scene you just won't see anywhere else. Greg Minnaar, the winningest World Cup rider of all time, going head-to-head with 16-year-old Asa Vermette. And he's extended. It's 1.164 into the green for Vermette. And he's on the inside line right there. We saw Minnaar go outside, carry a ton of speed. So let's see if that impacts the next split. Asa just so active on the bike as he gaps out into the open, and he's extended even more, 1.47, so it's a full 1.5 seconds into the green for Asa Vermette. Gets a couple pedals in, pulls up over those holes. And Vermette, yeah, going to be up on the high side of that off camber. Oh, and the fans are fully revved up down here as Vermette just pumping for everything he's got through the rocks. There's a 1.5 second lead for Vermette at split number 3 as he charges down to the finish line. The fans here at Killington are willing Vermette over the finish line. And Asa goes fastest by 0.13, 240.040 for the Frameworks rider. Asa Vermette into the hot seat here at the Fox US Open. Greg Minnaar down to second place. It's going to be a guaranteed top 3 for Vermette and Minnaar. Greg leans in. He's all smiles. He can't believe it. The kid is the real deal.
It's going to be close. Dude, the man's just getting faster every time. We're going to see a lot more of it.
And here's our top-seeded rider, last man on track, Dakotah Norton for Intense Factory Racing. Put the entire field to task yesterday by 3 seconds in seeding. And here is Norton in his bid to go back-to-back here at the Fox US Open. Well, when Norton gets between the tape on U.S. soil, he does not hold back. He loves being the top domestic rider. And he's right there on pace at the top split. So 3/10 back, nothing in it for Dak. Dak fresh off that second place World Cup finish in Ludenvier, France. He's a 2-time national champion. And he's still in touch. 4/10 back. Oh, got to pedal into the rock garden. Interesting. Dakotah Norton letting it all hang out. We've all been following his bike setup this year. He's high stack. Dak, oh, he's lost some time. Wow, that is a big chunk of time. 1.5 seconds back to Asa Vermette. Well, if anybody can pull something special out at the bottom of this track, it will be Dakotah Norton. The 31-year-old having a world-class season this year in international racing. Can't say he did anything wrong right there. Perfect wheel placement for Norton, but it was a big deficit. 1.5 seconds down at split number 3. What can Dak do? Will it be Asa Vermette today, or will it be Dakotah Norton? Norton will cross the line. Fastest, oh my gosh, 2:39. How did he do it? Dakotah Norton delivers when it counts, takes the win by 1 second over Asa Vermette, and he is fired up. Wow, what an incredible open men's final here in Killington. Dakotah Norton goes back-to-back defending his Fox US Open win from last year. Getting some love from teammate Aaron Gwynn, the team owner for Intense Factory Racing. Little love to the youngster. He says, hey, bud, get you next time. But today, all Dakotah Norton. He's all smiles. The check for $15,000 here at the Fox US Open. Asa Vermette in second place, an incredible ride with Greg Minnaar in third. Joe Breeden on the podium in fourth place, and Jackson Goldstone rounding us out in fifth place.
Today was a big day. It's good for American downhill. It's all we could ask for is an intense finish like that. No pun intended. But like a really high anxiety finish where everybody's waiting to see. You know, the crowd was huge. Everybody's pounding on the signboards and see the board light up with the green and they go wild. So it's all we want. It's all we want here.
2023 US Open done and dusted. Thanks for joining us here on Vital for the Fox US Open Race Replay Show. On behalf of myself and the entire Gravity Co-op, thank you for supporting US Downhill.